Hey everyone, my name is Andrew Davis. You are watching Conversations in Pop Culture, and yes, I am scandalous like an Ashley, and I have with me cosplayer Bbyg1rldee. I think I said it. I think I said it correctly.
Yes, I'm so proud of you.
I'm proud of myself too. So welcome to the show.
Mhm. I'm glad to be here. This is great. I've never had an opportunity like this before, but I'm really excited to see what this brings me.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to have you on. Obviously, you're a cosplayer, and we're going to talk about a bunch of your cosplays. But why don't you kind of give us an introduction of who you are? Because some people know you maybe from TikTok. You have a decent amount of followers on Instagram as well. But there's also people in my audience who do not know who you are. So why don't you give a quick introduction of who you are, what you do exactly, and then we're going to get into a bunch of your cosplays and a bunch of other fun stuff in pop culture.
Okay, so my name is Diamond. I've been cosplaying since I would say, 14 years old. That was the first time I've ever went to any cosplay event. It was Bell County Comic Con. I was just a storm, and I just fell in love with the art. And I just knew that I've always liked creating content, making silly little videos, like ever since I was like a kid. So now that I'm an adult and I have my own house, and I can do whatever I want. I was like, I really wanted to see where this takes me. I just enjoy dressing up. I've been dressing up on Instagram, I'd say, for about a year now. I was definitely scared to do it when I first started because I was skeptical of what people would think. But people really accepted it. Like I felt accepted, especially in the Black community, is not very, known for us to be doing it. But I found it like my own niche, and I found my own people.
Let's dive into this a little bit because cosplay has gone through, I think, in the last 5 years, maybe the last seven, a weird transition, for
Yeah.
lack of a better word, where a lot more of it, I think, where we have now casual cosplays, we have Instagram cosplays, we also have the con stuff. And so I don't know exactly when you came into it in a more, we could call it professional or more adult way, for lack of a better word. Not adult as in adult, but you know, I mean we could dive into that too, but not the point. Not the point here. But what was this like? Because obviously when you're 18, 19, 20, cosplay is different, and when you're on social media, it's very different. So what has that been like? Because that's new territory, and COVID helped to, I think, foster that in.
No, I think during the pandemic, it really, like during the pandemic, we're inside, we have nothing else to do. So what am I doing? I'm spending my money. I'm spending my money on makeup. I'm spending my money on clothes and costumes. So it started off as just something I did in my room secretly and privately. And I would see people on Instagram, like Barbie Sub, your little baby Ashley. I would see them doing it. And I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could do that. Like, I'm like, they look so good. And I'm like, I could do that, but I'm like, what? Like, I'm in a small town. Nobody knows me. Like, it's going to look crazy if I do it. And I just think, like, over the years, I finally gained the confidence to actually put myself out there and actually just, grab it by the balls, for lack of better words, and just really take on the risk of doing it. Cosplay used to be something that where only nerds did it. You know what I mean? The geeky little, nerds would do it in school. But I've seen people go to these conventions 14 years old, like they're walking on stilts dressed as like transformers, and I'm like, people really take the time to put craft into it. Although my cosplays have all just been from Amazon and just stuff that I bought online, I do have stuff in the works that I'm working on to make my own cosplays. It's taken a bit of a long time, but I am working on it. I want to be able to say that I put my work into this, I put my blood, sweat, and tears, my money into this, and I made this costume.
Let's actually talk about that too, because I don't know if this debate is still going on, but when I was on the con scene, and I'm 31, I haven't been to a con in almost 6 years now. And
Mhm.
I don't know if I'm ever going back because honestly, I don't miss it. And I'm way more influential as a podcaster. I'm running a business. And honestly, I want to be home sipping my beer or my alcohol, personally being traveling. And I hate to say this, but I have more money because I'm not going to cons.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. But
Mhm.
I don't know if this debate is still going on of buying your cosplay or making your cosplay, because I remember that debate going on 6, 7 years ago. And I don't know if there's still stigmas attached to it or if it's dissipated or it's gotten better or worse? And I'm
I
curious
will
because
say, when I was on TikTok in 2020 and people were posting themselves online, like I'm talking like teenagers were posting themselves making cosplays. They're teenagers. They don't have any money. So they're making their cosplay with what they have and what their parents will buy. So when people would be in the comments like, oh, you didn't even make this, you're not a real cosplayer. People will backlash and be like, they're literally 16, 17 years old doing what they can with their money. Not everyone has money to put $1,000 into building stilts and building that. And I understand you can make stuff with even cheap products, but then your product will look cheap. It takes time and money. So I think you're a cosplayer, whether or not you do make your costumes or whether or not you buy your costumes. I think that debate is so dumb. I think it's so dead. I think it's overrated.
because I mean it's an issue. And
Sorry, I'm getting a call. Ooh, sorry. Can you see me?
yeah, I
You
could
can
see.
see me? I'm sorry.
No, because again, I remember that being an issue, and I think you touched upon something where it's the idea is what makes a real cosplayer, what doesn't make a real cosplayer, and I think it's tricky because it's also gone to a level of corporatism to some degree because once you have 100,000 followers on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, you are no longer a average cosplayer, you are a business, and I think that's an issue because at this point, this show is a brand. So
Yeah,
when I
definitely when you step into the cosplay scene.
and so because I think that's part of the problem is that I think, but also, I mean, there's plenty of cosplayers who have a million followers on Instagram who don't make their own shit either.
Yeah. I
So
don't know. When I started last year, when I posted my very first cosplay and I was Starfire, people were starting to label me as, oh, you're Starfire. They wanted me to only do Starfire cosplays. And if you've noticed, I don't ever repeat a cosplay. I will put on a cosplay one time and that's it. You'll never see me in that same cosplay ever again. I hate repeating the same cosplays. I like making new content. I like dressing up different. I don't want to be labeled as, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you hand make your costume. Keep wearing it. I will wear it all the time. But I didn't hand make these costumes, so why would I keep wearing it?
that's so interesting, right? I like repeating content, right? Like I like taking content and I like getting as much of it as I can get out of it. So like I'll take an interview and I'll cut it up into 10 micro pieces of content and they're all different, but it's the same interview, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I'll ask question A and then there's another question, but I'm not going to do it 10 times in a row. I'll do it every 4 weeks. It comes out a new piece. But like I like to, I mean, so like that just blows my mind. It's
I
it,
don't like it because of the simple fact now it makes me feel like I'm a one-hit wonder. Oh, it doesn't show any diversity to me. Because, for example, that one girl, I think her name is Bobby. She did an interview with Drake, that podcast girl. She made an interview with Drake, had millions of views. And she was just known as the girl that did the interview with Drake. She posted other content, but it wasn't getting as many views as Drake. I just think I don't want to be labeled as or categorized as this is the only thing she knows how to do. This is the only thing this is what she's known for. Yeah, that's great that people loved it, but I'm diverse. I can be any character.
interesting. That's interesting that you bring that up. My friend brought it up and he's like, you're paying for a connection. And I said, let's see how long she lasts, that girl. Let's see how long she lasts. Yeah, she had Mark Cuban on. Was it a good interview with Mark Cuban? Not really.
Yeah.
Was it a good interview with a bunch of people she's done? Not really. It was exactly what it was, where yeah, you have a lot of money, you now have some element of credibility, but that thing was I know that she's gonna be done in 6 months.
Thank you. Your 5 minutes fame.
It's crystal clear, and anybody who understood what it was going to be, and then she hasn't released content for a month, I think. And I'm like, great, you have celebrities, but you don't have the horses or the skills as an interviewer to handle it. You don't have enough reps in the game to have done what you have done, and you legitimately got presented a rocket booster, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
and now you're learning that you don't have the chops, and people see right through the bullshit. And,
Exactly.
and I think that's happening right now. I think that I mean, we're speaking off air about the top cosplayers, and they've lost market share in the
Yeah.
last 5 years because I think people are seeing through the bullshit.
Mhm.
I mean, that's just my opinion. I got no problem
I
saying
agree with you 100%. Like some people are just one hit wonders. If you don't keep, if you have to create. I believe in creating a loyal fan base before ever blowing up. Whether it's 100 followers, whether it's 100,000 followers, because the reason Drake is so big, Drake has been around for decades. It took him a long time growing his loyal fan base to where he can get to where he got to. He kept progressing. He didn't become stagnant. He wasn't a one hit wonder. He kept making hits. Like you have to make a loyal fan base. If you don't have a loyal fan base, now you just got 100,000 followers, but most of them are bots. Most of them are not engaging because they're not loyal to you. What do you bring to the table? What's different about you? What makes you stand out? You see what I'm saying? I want to have that. I want to be like, I engage, I talk, I post, I'm personal with it. A lot of people aren't personal with their social media.
At this point on my channel, you know what you're getting, and you know I'm going to tell people what I think. And again, I make my YouTube channel fun. Like my YouTube channel is fun, and I have solid content. And I don't really engage with people all that much on social media. But if somebody comments on a video, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to respond on YouTube. But I'm having a good time, and I'm going to keep it authentic.
Yeah.
And tell people what I think. And sometimes, people don't like my opinion, and that's fine. You don't have to like my opinion, but I'm right. So there we go. No, on certain things, I'm right. In which, it's, and when I say people are seeing through bullshit, I think that people have become awakened, for lack of a better word. But I digress. But I do want to talk about your cosplays because there's a bunch. And we did mention the Starfire, and I think this is your Starfire.
Yes, this is my Starfire cosplay.
So, what's the story behind this? Because last time I checked, Starfire doesn't have pink hair.
Okay, listen. There's different varieties of Starfire. There's Teen Titans Go. There's Teen Titans. There's a Starfire from the comics. The Starfire that I'm going based off of, and I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I am going off of the Teen Titans Go one. So she does have pink hair in Teen Titans Go. She has the bangs, and I wanted to put my own little twist on it by making it more of a, Afrocentric. So I wanted to put my hair with the 2 bangs in the front, and I really want to give Starfire but black. You know what I mean? Because the original Starfire in the comics was black, but she did have orange hair. I'm not a big fan of the orange hair. I look better in pink. Had to go with the Teen Titans Go version.
I could say so many things. My favorite thing that's ever been said is when Robin makes Starfire angry, he's like, I do like redheads who are angry.
Yeah. I know people were like clocking me on it, and I'm like, I feel like with cosplays, people either if it's not exactly how the character is, people are gonna like really get upset about it. My thing is, put your own little twist on it. Yeah, I might not look exactly like the character, but you get the idea though. You see who I am. You can still know who I am though, based off of looking at me. I ain't gotta paint myself yellow to know that I'm Pikachu. You know I'm Pikachu.
So many things I can say. And then I found it interesting. And then another character that's another good one that's also interesting is this one. And I like this one for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, that's actually never. I might redo this one just because a lot of people really did like it. I wasn't a big fan of it. I wasn't gonna do it, but my boyfriend at the time really was like, that's his like dream character. He was like, I've always had a crush on Velma. If you do Velma, I'm telling you, you're gonna blow up. I was like, okay, I'll do it. I felt like it was too simple. I felt like nobody was really gonna know who I was, but people knew and people loved it. They ate it up.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit too, because there's some interesting TikToks with that. There's some interesting Instagram videos with that. I don't know how to approach this. I mean, let's just say adult might be a good word. Given this week, I mean, given this week and last week, adult is the theme, and given what's going to happen at 7 o'clock tonight, it's also the theme. But anyway, what was that like? Because pole dancing Velma is definitely
Okay,
something.
so the reason I was pole dancing as Velma, I was actually practicing for the Otaku Cabaret. There's the Otaku Cabaret, they're having auditions, and I was like, I need to get I was just trying to get my my routine together. So I was like, I'm just gonna record myself, see what I want to change. And some of the clips I like, so I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna post it. That's just what happened. That's just what it is.
I mean, if you want to go with that, be my guest.
Oh
if you want to go with that,
there were some good clips I had to post.
I'm not going to say anything else. If you want to go with that, that's fine. I mean, if that's your defense, that's perfectly fine with me. I'm just because I found it really interesting, right? Because obviously that whole thing is interesting, and even diving into that topic, what is that like? Because cosplay has also become adult in the last few years.
When it started off, it was definitely more about the art. It was definitely more about creating the exact character, imitating, making that character really come to life. Now I feel like it has become more sexual and explicit. But I'm not gonna lie, I love feeling sexy. I'm a woman. Hello. Like, if I can make Pikachu sexy, why would I not do that? and also like let's be real. You're telling me at 14 years old, you didn't want to smash Velma? Let's be real. Let's be real. We've all had our fantasies of certain characters.
I was definitely more a Daphne guy.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You were a Daphne guy? Okay,
I'm sorry. I didn't think Fred could pull it.
He didn't think Fred was enough. He was like, move out the way, partner. I got you. She need a real
man. I'll be honest. Velma and Daphne were not on my fantasy list at 14.
Okay, character that you was like, because let's be real, cartoon characters, sometimes they just did it for us. Rolla Bunny. Let's be real.
Not on my list either.
Holden. Because the fact that you chose Daphne over Velma is already mind blowing. Already blowing my
mind. So definitely Colin from Code Geass was on my list. Misty was on my list from Pokemon.
Okay. I can go with that one.
Definitely who else was on my list? There's a few others.
You see Tifa. You like Tifa? Tifa Lockhart?
Yeah, I know who Tifa is.
So, but was that your crush or no?
No, because I wasn't into Final Fantasy when I was like 14. It just wasn't on like my list, right? Like I was a video game deprived child. So like I know who Tifa is, but I wasn't like I was a video game deprived child. But like I was an anime nerd and I was an anime weeboo. Like I was watching stuff that just like good stuff, but I digress. I was also reading some fucked up comics when I was 14. When you read Faust when you're 14, you that's
this. Like genuinely, where was our parents? For real, where was our parents?
Yeah, I was 12 and I was reading Love Hina. I mean, it didn't. My parents were like, okay,
they don't even think nothing of it. They're just like, oh, like as long as they're reading, they don't even think nothing about it.
It didn't hurt me. I was reading a lot of manga and I was smarter and I was reading at like a 12th grade level when I was in like the 5th grade. It was great. My parents didn't care because guess what? And now I'm actually smart and I'm successful. So I was like a C+ degenerate getting A's. but I can't do math and I can't do like I just can't do math. So
I still use my fingers to count and multiply and
But I digress. And speaking about sexual nature, is because we got to talk about this one too. What
Yes.
the
Yeah.
fuck is up with fucking Goldilocks Mama Bear here?
Okay. Okay. So let me tell you the whole thought process behind it. Because I actually have it on my wall. I make posters. I don't know if you can see it. That same photo is on my wall. So that photo, I wanted to get into I wanted to take my content serious. I'm like, if I'm gonna do this, sorry, I keep getting calls. If I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it right. Like I'm gonna go full throttle with it. My mom, the phone calls I got about this photo, my mom's calling me, my dad's calling me, my brother's texting me. Everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I'm like, oh. Anyway, this photo was inspired by Lil Kim. Let me show you the exact photo that I was trying to recreate. Lil Kim, she's a rapper. And I would just remember seeing this poster of her. Oh my gosh, I was a kid. And I just thought she was so fine. Tell me I don't look like Lil Kim. Like, tell me I didn't do that though. Like, seriously, I ate that up. I was like, man, I need something that's really going to catch people's eyes. That's really going to shake the internet. Recreate Lil Kim. I had to do it. It had to happen.
So what is that like? Because obviously, I mean, a bunch of people have done inspiration to art. A bunch of people have done stuff. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure that Nicki Minaj played tribute to Chun-Li on one of her
Yeah.
albums, and
Mm-hmm.
and then I think Street Fighter did something with her. For a cover that was like the Nicki Minaj thing. And so, what is that like for you? Because obviously, I didn't get Little Kim from it. I just got Goldilocks Mama Bear from it. And but I think it does achieve something though, where I'm like, okay, this is an interesting interpretation because this is familiar and there's something recognizable here, and there's obviously emotion attached to that photo and that cosplay you did. But I didn't get Little Kim from it. But that's fine because that's my interpretation of something.
Yeah.
Of it. But
The best thing
clearly
I say
something was familiar.
is the most form of flattery, like the best form of flattery is imitation. If someone's gonna imitate something you already did or recreate something you did, that means you did a damn good job at it. You know what I mean? So when I'm recreating photos and taking pictures or recreating, when I dress up as somebody that's a character, like I'm imitating them because I like this character. I wish I could be them. They're so good that I wish I could be them. You know what I'm saying? So it's just another form of art, imitation. Like you take your own spin on it.
I mean, I like the cosplay, so there's so many reasons why I like this cosplay. It's really, I mean, I enjoy it because again, it's familiar, and familiarity is really, really important in life
really.
right now. Because whenever I recognize something as being familiar, I know that okay, cool, I get what we're doing here, and there you go. So
The
I enjoy
nostalgia, it brings you back. Like when people see something, people like. I learned this in psychology. People like things that are familiar to them. People tend to gravitate towards people that that they are that they can relate to. People like relatability, so they can relate to you on something. They feel like they can relate to you on something. That's another person in your circle now.
No, I agree. I agree. And then obviously, speaking about relatability, is this one too, because people know who this is.
I'm not gonna lie. When I wore this one, I didn't think nobody was gonna know who I was. I was like, I'm gonna walk into the convention and no one's gonna clock me for my name. Everyone's gonna just be like, "Who is she?" But people actually would recognize it, and I was really surprised.
So what is that like that people actually know your cosplays? Because it's one of those things where this is a little bit more obscure, and it's definitely something that
You get it. I don't like. That's why I try and do well-known cosplays. But also, I'm also like my own person. I'm like, I love horror movies. I am like a horror movie fanatic. I grew up on horror movies. Like, I love horror movies. And I was like, I could be Jason, but then I'm just, another sexy girl with a mask on. I want it to be something that people People, if you know, you know. Didn't want to be Chucky because I'm like, that's too obvious. I wanted to be Tiffany. Specifically, I chose Tiffany because I was like, I grew up off of Chucky. I remember Chucky was like the very first movie that really like shook me up right next to Freddy Krueger. I also did a Freddy Krueger costume, but I didn't post it because it wasn't my best. We're going to redo that one. But the Tiffany cosplay, I was just like, she's so sexy. She's not too sexy. She's from horror movie. Like, people are gonna get it. If they get it, they get it. If they don't, they don't. So that's why I did Tiffany. She's sexy, she's hot, and she's scary.
So to even talk about that too a little bit, because obviously you go to a con, and again, I haven't been in 5 years, but I remember when I went, everybody was doing, you could go find, for lack of a better word, 30 Harley Quinns, right? You
Oh
know,
my god.
there-
Somebody
there's
told me to
nothing,
do Harley Quinn. I was like, I would rather literally kill myself.
there's
I was,
nothing wrong with doing Harley Quinn. Nothing
nothing
wrong
wrong
with
with
it.
Harley Quinn.
But after a while, it's like, do you want to be 1 in 50, or do you want to be maybe 1 in 1, or 1 in 2, or 1 in 5? Because
Oversaturated.
and so when you go and you do Tiffany versus Chucky or Jason, or another, well-known slasher, for lack of a better word, you now cool. Somebody might not get what you are. Somebody might get what you are, but at least you're not in the rest of the saturation.
Yeah.
I mean, because it gets, there's nothing. It's not like a massive problem. It's not. This is first world problems here, for lack of a better word. But it does get a little weird when you have 50 Harley Quinns running around, like, and you're a cosplayer and you want to stand out. Like, I'll take a picture of 1 or 2 of them, but after the 5th one, I'm like, I don't want to fucking take a picture of you anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, so what is that like for you? Because I would imagine that, it must be somewhat nice to be, okay, cool, I'm the only one doing this at this con.
When I went and I didn't see I seen a lot of Chuckies. I did see a lot of Chuckies. So obviously I took pictures with people that were dressed as Chucky. But when I went, I was like, no one's gonna know who I am. And that's okay. It was Sunday. So, people on cons, when it comes to cons, Sunday is like, people are gonna be there, they might not be there. So I'm not really tripping if people don't know who I am. But a lot of people end up recognizing me. They're like, they questioned it at first. They were like, are you? And I'm like, I am. So when people recognize me, honestly, a lot of people like gave me my props. They're like, I haven't seen a Tiffany here at all. You're the first Tiffany I've seen ever, and you look great. I was like, oh my gosh. I was really debating on redoing that one just because it did get so much love, just because people really did recognize it. Even though I thought nobody was going to recognize it, people really did. It made me stand out. It made me look different.
No, that again, I think it's nice and decent and important at some point, because you do the mainstream and you'll do Starfire, but then you also go off the beaten path, right? Because at this stage in the game, and I'm curious how you feel, if you're a cosplayer wanting to build up, maybe I'm wrong here, maybe this is my own thoughts, but I feel like if you want to build a following, you do need to do the mainstream, but you also need to do the weird shit, for lack of a better word, or the more obscure stuff, or the things that are off.
And nobody's doing.
Because it's kind of like, otherwise you're just riding the wave with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe I'm wrong here. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Again, I'm not a cosplayer, but talking about doing things that are a little bit off the path, this is Jennifer's body.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you put this picture up. No one, this picture did not get enough love. This picture did not get enough love. This cosplay did not get, I thought this cosplay was going to blow up. TikTok, around about a year or two ago, Jennifer's body was really big. Like, everyone was posting like the sound to Jennifer's body. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be the one. This is going to blow me up. No one cared. No one cared. No one even, it took people just thought I was a cheerleader. I'm like, am I missing something? Maybe I should have added some blood on the face, but I really wanted to give Jennifer Body man eater, very much not scary, just sexy, because that's what Jennifer Body is. She's a sex symbol who eats men. Like, what? So glad you put this picture up. Shout out to Andrew, y'all, for real. He's a real one. I'm glad real recognizes real. For real.
Just so many things I could say. Just so many things I could say. The way you described her, it's just like, Oh man, I have nothing to say. She's like, oh man, that's like the TikTok clip for me. Oh man,
People were doing the I'm like, I'm really about to eat this trend up. People are doing it. People know. Nobody knew. Nobody even. No, everyone just thought I was a cheerleader. I'm like, so we're not gonna look at the caption, or we're. Did I miss something? I'm like, did I miss something? No, because I did that.
isn't
I
it
did
interesting?
that.
Isn't it interesting when something catches fire and you don't think it's going to catch fire and you're like, nobody's going to look at this. And then the thing that you're like, oh, everybody's going to just be all in on this and go deep. It doesn't move, right? It's so weird, right?
I thought Tiffany wasn't even gonna do numbers. I was like, oh, people are gonna know Jennifer before they know Tiffany. Apparently, everybody and their mother knows Tiffany, but nobody knows Jennifer. I'm like, maybe that was too niche. My bad, too niche, too niche.
It's so weird. It's so weird. Like I know when I have gold, right? And I know when I'm running with something, but then I'm like, I mean, I just brought in a product into eBay, and I'm like, this product should do $600 easy, and one just sold for 277, and it was a $250 card, and I'm like, this guy made no money on this thing, and I have one left, and I'm like, why is this thing not doing what it's supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, I pick something up on a spec, and it's like a $50 card out of nowhere. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, sometimes I know that.
Algorithm is so weird. Like, you could be doing the trend and still not blow up, but the minute you do something, you're like, oh, this is not gonna get that much attention. I'll post it anyway. Now all of a sudden, everybody and their mother is on your page.
It's so weird in which that, like, sometimes like it's easy to figure out certain things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like other things, it's mind-boggling. And again, I just run with it and I see what the hell happens, and I stop paying attention to trends. I just do what I want to do on my show, and hopefully it'll work out one way or the other.
Right, for real. Just hope for the best at this point.
It be because if you go and you try to predict it, it's like investing, right?
Yeah.
If you can't time the market, it is impossible to time the market. Where the saying is, and this is not financial advice, but if you don't believe me, just look it up.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't time the market, and if you miss the top 10 trading days, the best days of gains, you will have, I think, a 28% less rate of return for the year. If you miss the 30 best trading days, you automatically drop down to 66%.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just put in $500 a month into investing and you don't worry about it and you ride it up and down, you will not miss the top 10 trading days and the top 30 trading days, and you will not have a horrific loss over time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the thing about trends.
Yeah.
But I digress on all of that because you got some other cool stuff that you've done as well. And I like this one. And
Yeah. It was a
that
90s themed birthday party I went to, and I was listening to Ice Cube, getting ready, and I was like, I need to give 90s. What gives 90s? The Bobos, the flannel, like the all the way down to the Air Forces. Like I'm ready to step out. The white tube socks popping out. Thought I was giving the 90s.
what is it? She had the boots with the fur.
Boots with the fur. Baby, I got them hoop earrings. I had some big hoop earrings. You can see it a little bit. Look, I don't even like gold, but I had to do the gold. All I'm missing is a grill.
I don't remember the 90s all that well, but I was born in 93 and I was 7 at the end. I don't remember much of the 90s. I don't even remember much of the 2000s till like 2008. I mean, hell, I don't even remember what I did yesterday. So
I think it's time to put down the bottle, Andrew. I think it's time to put down the bottle.
I did drink a lot this week. That's all I can say. And then you got this one too. So
Yeah, bimbo. I want to get very bimbo, very girly. It's very in to be girly right now, and bimbo. I love bimbos. I just want to live my best bimbo life.
so many things I could say. So many things I could say. I'm just gonna be quiet. I'm just gonna
I
nod
walked
my
into the
head.
mall like this. So many people were like, "You look so good. You look like a real life doll." I'm like, "Thank you. That's what I'm going for."
All I'm gonna say is those heels. That's all I'm gonna
Blood.
say.
Yeah.
I have so many things I could say, and I'm already in enough trouble. I really don't want a YouTube strike. I really don't want a YouTube strike.
Yeah, not too much. YouTube is real strict. Not too much, Andrew.
So many things I could
But we're
say.
here telepathically. I see.
There's so many things I could say. So many things I could say, and I'm gonna be an adult, and I'm gonna be a smart individual on this one. And then you've also done this too.
Okay, this one. I was on the way to a rave. This was very simple. 1, 2, 3. I redid this. I did end up redoing this because I wanted to post it on my main. So I don't know if you've been watching my story, but I got some photos coming for that.
So what was this like? Because obviously you're going to a rave. It's obviously a Japanese schoolgirl, a Japanese whatever, college girl,
Creating,
whatever you want to call it.
once again, I love to recreate. I don't know if you know this. There's this rapper, Ruby Rose. She wore this exact outfit, same hairstyle, same outfit, all the way down. So I recreated it. I just did a photo shoot in it. I recreated it. I can show you about. Ooh, none of these photos are appropriate for YouTube. So no, I didn't recreate it. I didn't recreate it. The buns. Yeah. It's gonna come. It's gonna be posted. I even got the socks for it.
So what was this like though, wearing it to a rave too? Because I've seen your stories, I've seen stuff on TikTok from this, and it's fun. It was hard to find a good photo for
Yeah.
this. It was
Because
hard.
I didn't get that many photos that night. I just needed something to wear. That rave was so last minute. I'm like, I have nothing to wear. And I was like, I could do this. So I did it. It was very quick, last minute. I just need something to throw on.
Oh man, so many things I could say. But then even going
I
further
don't know
into
if
this,
you can kind of see through the shirt. I had on a little anime bra.
you had a
So
little what on?
a little anime bra. Exactly the same. Oh my God. I don't want to get you banned. I don't
Oh
want to get
my god, I could say so many things. I could say so many things now. I am
this is what I had up under it. And yeah. Mm-hmm. And I was showing my ass. I was on that floor, just boobies out. Cause as you can see, the shirt barely even fit. So
Shotty got low that night.
Shawty did.
Oh my god. I'm gonna get it. I know where to stop. I know where to stop. Let's just leave it at that. So but to go even further, because obviously you did a photo shoot that you said before, and it's none of
Yeah.
it's really appropriate.
It's not too bad. Like I could cover this. Ooh. But you
So
see, I did the hair.
yeah.
Like I was down to the T when I recreated it.
So to talk about that, I mean, what is that like? Because obviously, when you're doing photo shoots and you're being, we'll call suggestive, playful, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I'll say what it's not. You're not shooting a hardcore porn. You might be
No.
touching a little bit on, adult, a little bit, fan service, for lack of a better word here. So what is that like? Because obviously, people like that. There are sites for this. There's a bunch of other stuff, and also, you know what it is, you know, what is that like? Because obviously, once you start going into the adult or a little bit more risque, because that's a really big thing right now in cosplay. So, what is that like for you? Because it's tricky.
I have a plan. I do have a plan. I'm not going to tell you the whole plan, but I do have a plan. And my mom, I just talked to my mom about it Monday for the first time because she's even like, "What are you doing? Why are you half naked every time I open my phone?" And I'm like, "I have a plan, Ma. Just give me a year. I have a plan. I know what I'm doing. I like to be just enough. when you open up Instagram and you do follow cosplayers and there's no tea, no shade at all. People that post their little twerk videos, people that post like just them shaking their boobies. I like to be just enough. Just enough. You won't see me twerking, maybe a little 1-2 hip dance, but you won't see me twerking. You won't see me just, oh yeah, like just doing overly sexual. I want to be just enough to leave them like, what you got going on? You know what I'm saying? I like to be just enough.
Let's talk about that, because this is what I think is interesting right now with cosplay. I think it's interesting with comics in particular, is that you got to get somebody in the door somehow. So it's shock value, right? It's very helpful. So if I interview, for lack of a better word, an adult star or a porn star, and then I put 5 intellectual interviews around it, everything benefits.
Yeah.
By it. And so I was having this conversation with my mom, and she's like, your content doesn't need that. I'm like, but it does. It does. But my interviews are relatively intellectual, even when I'm interviewing somebody who is a cam girl on StreamMate, and we're talking about the breakdown of the economics, but she looks a certain part, for lack of a better word, and it makes somebody stop. But then everything else, but I also have the horses behind it. So I think it's interesting, because it's also the idea that where are you leveraging that out to as well? Because if all of a sudden you go and you're playful, suggestive, and attractive on Instagram, but then you have a business, and then that converts traffic to your business, and it lowers your customer acquisition cost, and you're selling makeup. I mean, and now your cost went from acquiring a customer for $3 to $2.50.
Yeah.
I mean, does it really matter that you're twerking?
I know who my audience is. And when I say this, I like to be, because whether or not it's hardcore or softcore, it's still porn at the end of the day. Playboy, that is my ideal when I do my cosplays, because Playboy, when you look at Playboy magazines, it's showing you just enough. Yeah, they may be a little topless. Yeah, they may be a little nude, but it's in great taste. There's a difference between me and another girl who does, let's say, perhaps OnlyFans. You do OnlyFans, you're naked, you're not in costume, you're just, anybody can make porn. Anybody can sit there and record a camera and get naked. But how you do it, whether it's in good taste, bad taste, whether you're in costume or not in costume, it's all about how you do it. You have to be strategic with it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm being very strategic with it. I'm being just sexy enough to where people are like, oh, but not too sexy where it's like, ugh. Because what's the difference between me twerking on Instagram versus Megan Thee Stallion? Megan Thee Stallion is, she has a following, she's a rapper, she's this and the third. If I had a large following and I was a rapper, nobody would bat an eye. But since I'm not a rapper and I don't have a large following, everyone's like, why is she on my Instagram twerking? It's all about how you do it, you know, your audience.
I don't disagree. Everything that I do is deleveragement outward for something else. So I understand that when I'm interviewing, right, or I'm targeting a specific guest, and I hate to use the word targeting, because but there's no other word for it. So I'm very selective who's on my show. So I'm like, what demographics, what box are you checking off for me? You know, I just in the past 3 months, I've gotten about 50 requests, and I've taken 5 of them, because I don't. Right now, if I ask 10 people, I will get about 6 interviews out of the 10, which is really good. So my point that I'm making is that I rarely take requests from people who solicit me, because it's, what are you bringing to my show that I don't really have? Because I have an eBay business, right? Obviously, I'm going to get super chats in the next 6 months on YouTube with the rate I'm going. So that's something that I've wanted. Monetization is not going to be off the table in the next 2 years on ads on YouTube. So again, what boxes is somebody checking off? And it's all for another position. And so I think I don't disagree. There's intent behind what I do.
Yeah, strategizing. It's all about how you do it.
So I think it's a problem. But again, you know what it is? I mean, I'm interviewing at 7:00 2 adult stars, and it's going to be fascinating, and that's all they do. And the content they produce, and it's going to be an intellectual interview. But there's intent in what they do. So I mean, it's fascinating. So I find it interesting, right? Because when you do release that photo set on a Patreon or loyal fans or OnlyFans or ManyVids or wherever, if you do that route,
Mhm.
know, obviously people want that content, and who am I to deny somebody content if it's legal?
Yeah. For real. I'm glad you see it. I like the way you think.
It's the same thing with drugs. Who am I to prohibit somebody from doing whatever they want to do, as long as it's not hurting me? I don't give two damns. If
Dang.
you drink and you want to drink yourself into a stupor in your house while watching a football game, I don't give a fuck. You get in a car, we have a problem.
Yeah.
So because I'm on the road too, and
Mhm.
I'm not drinking, I'm simply going out tomorrow to get Starbucks. So I don't want to get into a car crash with somebody drunk while I'm getting my coffee,
Mhm.
because the coffee will spill and then it'll be all over the place,
Now
and
it's a whole mess. It's a whole thing.
I gotta clean my car. It'll be a total inconvenience, you know. It'll take me like 45 minutes, and then sometimes you can't get out the full coffee, and then you're like, "Fuck, my car smells like
Now,
coffee."
but
And
is that a bad thing though? Coffee scented
it depends. It depends, right? If
car.
beautiful white seat car and it's coffee stained, and then you're trying to like keep it pristine,
It's a
and
decorative. It's adds to it. It's a decorative scene.
but then what if you don't like the brew of the coffee? You're like, oh,
It
this is
adds
not a good
character.
brew.
It adds character. The car has been through some things.
I'm just saying that, you know, again, I understand
Mhm.
where I'm at. So, but I digress. But I do want to shift out of your cosplays. I know
Mhm.
we didn't get to a bunch of them. You have a bunch of other stuff that you've done. I know you think you did Storm. I think you've done like Kitana. I think you've done Lola Bunny. There's a few others that you've done as well.
Yeah.
But we were speaking a little bit about TikTok, because I think you have like 10,000 on TikTok, right?
No, I wish I had 10,000. I just hit 1,000. I've just been able to come alive. Like I just was able.
Maybe you have like over 10,000 likes. I don't know. So
Oh
I thought,
yeah, on one of them I did get a lot of views. I think one of them did end up taking off.
but what is this like? Because that's a whole interesting platform. I do well on TikTok when I release content. I'm doing maybe like 400 to 800 views on my TikTok
Yeah,
with my shorts and some stuff. And I like TikTok a lot. TikTok does not like Disney. I learned that the hard way.
yeah, they're very picky and
They're
choosy.
anti-Disney. It's a problem.
Mhm.
I can prove it. I can prove it.
What you
I had
mean?
I had a post with somebody saying, "Oh, I'm inspired by pinup girls and Disney for my art," and it got one play on TikTok.
Hmm.
Yet I put up something saying, "How do you suplex somebody in wrestling?" and it got like 1,000, and
Yeah.
like 5 minutes after, which
No, yeah, that's happened to me too, where I'll post something and then one of them will get like 1,000 views and the next one will get like three. I'm like, how
but
does
then
that post
but
it?
then everything else in that month when I was posting regularly did fine. Did like 500 to 600, or like did anywhere from like 4 to 800 on average. So it was clearly that they just did not like Disney.
Yeah.
They don't like the hashtag Disney, or they don't like hashtag LGBTQ sometimes.
Yeah.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're cool with it. It depends though. But again, it's just one of those things. But like they had no problem with hard gay Razor Ramon. They had no problem with that one.
Yeah, I like that interview. I like that one. Yeah.
I love Jamie Senegal. Jamie is I love Jamie. She's great. I love Jamie.
That was cute.
But my point that I'm making is that again, so how is that for you though? Because it's obviously a funnel to some degree of getting attention to who you are and what you do, and what is that like? Because I think it's an interesting position right now in cosplay, because you need to be on TikTok.
Yeah. Okay, so I actually don't know what I'm doing on TikTok. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna sit here in front. I don't know how to edit the videos. I don't know how to work the hashtags. I don't even know like how to make the I just learned how to choose a sound. Like when I tell you I don't know anything about TikTok, like how to use it as an app, I'm really a watcher on there. I'm trying to get into it. Like I'm planning on making some TikToks today. I'm learning some dances. It's so complicated to me, but like, I'm like, oh my god. When I post on there,
Let's talk about this because I don't really. So I use Instagram very differently than other people, right?
mhm,
Instagram, I'll just post a comic up just to have content up there. I'll post like, oh, I'm interviewing this person in 2 days. Again, Instagram for me is I'm horrific at Instagram, but I use it to reach out to people, especially cosplayers and artists.
mhm,
So I was on a show and we were having a conversation. And he's like, yo, I want to talk about tools and social media tools. And I said, I use Instagram not to grow my business, but to reach out to people. He's like, yo, dude, you got to come on. You got to explain this. In which the guy was absolutely fascinated by the fact that I said, a lot of people I want to interview, cosplayers and artists, are heavily on Instagram.
mhm.
So that's how I use Instagram. So I use Instagram as a
And I
communication.
noticed that when I was scrolling through your Instagram, I'm like, he's not really like you post, but it's like the way you do it is very different from how other people use it.
I systematically do it because
Yeah, I'm like, this is very like I'm posting because I kind of have to post. Like it's not like the way you do it is very
But
different.
there's also another side to this because it's also an eBay feeder.
Mm,
So a lot of the product that I post up it's for sale on eBay.
yeah,
So I've taken a different approach to Instagram completely.
yeah, you have.
Listen, because the goal is not Instagram. The,
Uh-huh.
the the goal is just to have content. So you have 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, 5,000, images up there. So it's like, okay, this person is at least active. So when I reach out to a cosplayer, they might feel a little bit more comfortable. And then you put up a reel, you put up some other shit, and you're good to go. So
Mhm,
now you at least have some little feeder in there, but I can communicate with people
mhm,
essentially because people are on Instagram and that's how I use it. With TikTok, I just post up my content, but I take the same content on TikTok, I put it on Facebook, I put it on Twitter/X, I put it on YouTube. So I just legitly take a short and I legitly get 5 or 6 or 7 positions out of it.
mhm.
So again, because the TikTok is a feeder for the YouTube and for the Facebook and for wherever else this goes.
Mhm.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Legitly on my TikTok, the full interview is on the YouTube channel. So, and I don't worry about it, the viewership. I just want it in play. So
Yeah.
I'm curious how you
And I
feel.
think that's kind of why how I use TikTok, how I navigate TikTok. I'm not really so mainly when I'm on TikTok is more live. Like my last live stream I did super well. Like I was getting a lot of gifts. I think I had 2,000 views all at once going, and I was like, oh my god, this is really way better than Instagram live. You know what I mean? So I use different how you do it. You use your different platforms for different things. I use TikTok mainly for TikTok live, just for more engagement with the followers versus actual video posting.
No, I find it interesting because again, I have a very different position where everything feeds into YouTube and then I'm just YouTube centric now.
Yeah.
Because it is the platform that I should be on,
Mhm.
and I put a lot of effort in. In 6 months, I have done triple what I did all last year,
Mhm.
and I'm understanding, and I have real data now off of YouTube, and I understand that the TikTok stuff, the Instagram stuff, my Facebook stuff, it is legitimately meant to just feed in. It is meant to feed in, and because the way I will make money is through YouTube. It won't be through anything else
Why didn't you
because
start
it's
this earlier? Why haven't you made like a YouTube or did like go as hard as you did back in 2020 when we were in the house?
I no. So what happened is that this show came out of 2020.
Okay.
This show came out of 2020 because I was doing pre-recorded stuff. So
Uh
I started interviewing about 11 years ago.
okay.
So I
Okay.
had a pre-recorded podcast that had about 120, 150 interviews. And what
Mhm.
wound up happening is that I just was like, everybody's getting fucked over, and I'm so backed up in releasing this content. Let me go live.
Mhm.
Then,
Sorry.
no, you're fine. And then I thought this was going to last a few months and I was going to go back and I'll get like 30, 40 interviews. And then I was figuring it out. And then I finally just started doing micro content. and I started cutting up the back end about a year and a half ago, and then I just got massively ahead cutting a back end. I took December off last year, started prepping up about 3 months, prepped up more 3 months, and now I just have a lot of content. And then I just really pounded the YouTube stuff in January in YouTube community, and I've just gotten just a lot more content has just come out every single week. About
Does this
five.
affect your personal life? You're making content. Does your family know? Did your friends know? How do they feel about it?
What do you mean? What do you mean? What'd you say?
Like since you've been posting on YouTube and stuff, like, and you're taking your, trading cards and like selling your cards and stuff like that pretty seriously. How does your family feel about it? Like, do they think this is just a
My,
hobby?
my, my parents hate it because it takes up a lot of room.
Yeah. That's so real. That's so real.
I mean, again. I mean, a lot of people know about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have a profitable business, so you really can't attack it. Is it stressful? Are they thrilled with it? No. Again, it's tricky because I do have a lot of dead merch that is harder to move, but also that's evolved into better merch. But also, I mean, you're gonna have losses. You're gonna have underappreciated merch, and it's figuring out how to finance
Like body, very unappreciated.
What would you say?
I said, like my Jennifer Body cosplay, very underappreciated.
It's underappreciated until you actually start pulling in real money. So I have a quarterly $18,000 to $20,000 sales quarterly position. So until those numbers are seen, it's like you can't argue, and that's not profit. That's just sales. On a profit, I'm running anywhere from a 29 to a 36% profit margin. So, and that's after taxes. That's after a bunch of other stuff. So, 20,000 at 30%. That's about $6,000 in profit, and you can take $6,000, put it into an S&P 500 fund, and never look at it again for 30 years, and it'll be worth about 150,000. So it doesn't really matter what people think. What I want to do is I want to streamline it even more. But again, we're in weird times because collectibles are a nightmare right now. Right. And also it just so happens that I got swamped in August. There was about $3,500 of stuff that I needed to buy, and it's a tricky situation to navigate. But I will make my money on the back end, not the front end. So, again, I bought a card for $250 and just sold for $277, and eBay takes 13%. So that guy made no money on the card. So, and again, I think I might have to hold the card for a while and move money around in my business to cover when that card's payment is due next. So, but it is what it is. But again, my friends know about this. A lot of people know about it. It's not hard. I mean, I spent a lot of time working on this though. So, but again, I'm seeing results, and I know that there's going to be a good chance in the next 2 years that it's going to produce me real money. And then I'll leverage out that into stocks that I know, which means that I'm taking A, turning it into B produces a dividend, and then that's money on money on money. So I mean, this is exactly what I've done my whole life. So you can't argue with the battle plan. So that's a long answer for a short question.
No, I like that. I like that you're grinding. I like that you're like open about it. Cause I sure now was not. I was like, oh my god, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to do this. I didn't want people to know, like people I knew to know. I don't care about people on the internet because these are people on the internet. People aren't gonna know so much that I allow them to know. But when it comes to like family and close friends, I was like, oh, they're gonna judge me. They're gonna think I'm weird and stuff like that. I've always been a little odd, so.
Again, I don't really care. At a certain point, I'm just buying and selling, in particular on eBay and interviewing, just buying and selling. And I know exactly what I'm doing here, and I know every reason why something has an intention. So And again, I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, I don't talk about it at my job, at my shoot job, for lack of a better word, but there's no good reason to. So, and I don't really give a shit. So there you
That's
go.
true.
But no, no, no. I was just curious about the whole TikTok thing with you because again, I don't really know because I use all this stuff very differently. And again, I just throw content out there. I don't worry anymore about it. I just put it out there and I try to time things and it'll be what it'll be. But it's working. So I mean that's why I guess I'm where I'm at. Is that what I'm doing is working. Could it work better? Sure.
Mhm.
But
I think that's the way I am with TikTok too. Just very much, if it work, it work. If it don't, it don't. Because I don't even know what I'm doing on there. So.
and then obviously we've been speaking for an hour and I do want to talk about some other stuff.
Mhm.
So obviously I am curious because you are more in the cosplay community than I am. You're probably more in the con space than I am. So where do you see all this going? Because obviously conventions have gone through a very interesting situation between who they're bringing in now, what they're doing. They were dead and now they're back. And now I know Texas, as I was speaking, Paradox Cosplay was on, Barbie Sub was on, and a few other people have been on. And so, it's an interesting dynamic because there's a lot of conventions. There's big ones, small ones. There's a lot of adult conventions now in cosplay. So I'm curious where you see all this stuff going because, again,
Um,
not in the space.
Sex will always sell. So I think the adult conventions will continue to grow. I think I'm not gonna lie. I think within the next 5 years of the convention thing, since DreamCon just came out, I want to say a year or two ago. Now that they got the Black community, which was such a like people don't understand that DreamCon was such a significant change in the convention community because when we would cosplay, people would tell us, "Oh, you can't be that character because you're Black." Starfire isn't Black. This character isn't Black. You can't be that character. But when they made DreamCon happen, and I seen people when I went to DreamCon this year for the very first time, I seen people that look like me dressing as characters that we were told all this time we can't do it because we don't look just like them. They do it and they do it well. So I think right now for the Black community, at least I can speak on that behalf. I think we're headed up towards our peak. Like I think we're on the rise towards the peak, especially with DreamCon and everything. DreamCon is like one of the biggest conventions of the year. So I think conventions will continue to grow, especially if they continue to allow minorities and grow as a community and not be so separated. That was the whole problem with conventions and cosplaying to begin with. Oh, you didn't do this. You don't look like this character exactly. You didn't. Oh, Starfire doesn't have pink hair. Starfire has this hair. Does not matter. Did I do it? Did you get it? Do you understand it? Yeah. So you see me and I'm doing it good. I think conventions will continue to grow as always. As long as there's anime, as long as there's nerds living on this planet, we'll forever have conventions.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, I have a different opinion, but I'll keep that to myself.
No, what's your opinion? I'd love to hear it.
I think cons are really, really expensive. And I think that there's actually going to be a pullback. And here's why. And my thought is that that's what's going on in Kickstarter right now with comics is that it got a pre-COVID boost, and then that boost continued for a while, and now we're seeing a pullback. And I think cons are really expensive. I think life is really expensive right now. I think that we have an election in November, and I think whoever gets into office, whether it's Kamala Waltz or Trump and Vance, I don't think it's going to really matter because I think it's going to be very detrimental to the United States. I think that a lot of the inflation is not going to be solved for another 6 to 12 months. I think life is more expensive. And I think a lot of people right now are struggling. I was having a conversation with a doctor of mine, and he's like, there are people and patients of mine who have to figure out what bills they're going to pay and what bills they can defer every single month.
Yeah.
So, I just don't think that these problems are going to be solved. And I think that con tickets are going up. I think venue prices are going up. And I think they're actually going to eliminate people from going.
What do you think conventions are going to be like in the next 5 years?
I think they're going to be more expensive. I think guests are going to be more expensive. And I think that people are going to say this isn't exactly the space I want to be in. And also, I don't know what the demographic is, but if the demographic is 25, when you're 30, you have a new baby, you're trying to start a family, you just got married, and all of a sudden money's tighter. So unless they really understand that people and life gets more expensive, because I don't have kids yet. I'm
Me neither.
not going to assume anything.
No babies
Fair
over
enough.
here. Hmm.
But the second you have a kid, I mean, my sister just had a baby and she has another one coming on the way. Diapers are
Hmm.
pricey. So like all of a sudden when they're going through diapers and it's a lot of
Formula.
money.
Gosh, please. They got it locked up in the cases. You can't even get to the formula.
Exactly. So that's what I see is that I'm 31, right? I'm now starting to figure out how to find a significant other and have kids. So again, this I mean, and that's a whole that's like a 2.5 hour discussion alone on that on a business level and what that looks like for our business. But it's very, very important to understand that I think that cons are in a rougher shape than people realize.
Yeah. Because
Because
it's
I think it's things are more pricey because I remember when tickets were $40, and I know with cons, when I was going, they were starting to become 45, 50. I mean,
yes. I'm like, bro, when I used to go to cons, like you get a ticket for $30 and you get everything. Now they want $100 for a ticket. DreamCon itself, I spent for a 1 day pass was $100. Insane. Like
it, it,
$100. And that's not even VIP. Like yeah, it is expensive and it's a very expensive hobby. It really is.
so
But I
that
think as long as there's a community for it, it's gonna happen.
yeah, no, I think people are going to be tapped out. I think they're going to be tapped out, and I think certain cons are going to thrive, and certain cons are going to die. And
Yeah, so
sudden, and then all of a sudden, let's say DreamCon destroys two cons and eats it up.
yeah.
Here's the problem: is that those two cons serviced 15,000 people now. 15,000 more people are at DreamCon. The
Yeah.
lines are longer. It becomes less of an experience, and then it becomes that you now have grown, destroyed your competition, but you have actually a lesser experience because you bring a cosplay
That's
guest.
so real. When DreamCon first happened, oh my gosh, people were mad. People that bought those skip the line tickets and wasn't skipping no lines because everyone was and their mother was going. Insane. They bettered it this year, but still, it was still horrible. Like there's too many people.
It's complicated. I mean, that's just my thoughts. But again, I don't really know, and I'm not one to. I mean, I have an opinion, and I just look at it from an economic standpoint.
Mhm.
But I digress on all that. But obviously, you've been speaking for a while,
Mhm.
and I want to give you a chance to self promote yourself. So,
Yeah.
where can people find you, hit you up, bother you, all that fun stuff?
Um,
Maybe have some of those photo shoots when they appear somewhere. I don't know.
Follow me on Instagram, guys. Bbyg1rldee, BBYG, the number one, DEE. That's on Instagram. I also have a second account on Instagram, HersheyXO, HERSHEXO. That's more of like the archives. What didn't make it to the main account. TikTok is Bbyg1rldee with the O, so BBYGORLDEE. I just made a Twitter. I'm new to Twitter. I don't really know how it works quite yet, but it's also Hershey XO, or you can type in Neko Baby DNEKO BBYDEE. Yeah.
And then I'm gonna keep saying it, and I've been saying it for a while. You gotta follow people on social media. You gotta support people on social media. You gotta support people with making their content. All that stuff goes a long way. And Instagram follows free. A Twitter/X follows free. A Facebook follows free. TikTok follows are free. Anything else is usually free on social media for the most part. Goes a long way. And then just saying hi, giving a like, all that stuff matters too. And then as far as I'm concerned, I am Pop Anime Comics on Twitter/Instagram/Facebook/X. I am also Pop Anime Comics on TikTok. I run a little YouTube channel called Pop Anime Comics. You could go subscribe on there. I got like 1,600 videos, a lot of interviews, adding a lot of content. I do have an interview tonight at 7 o'clock that I'm very excited for, and this is what it looks like. So it's going to be a good one. A little bit.
Ooh, nice.
Uh, I'm very excited for that one. And then I got some other content coming out, and I carry some interesting merch in my store, everybody. So, I carry stuff like this in my store. I carry stuff like this in my store. I carry stuff like this in my store. I carry really cool comic books like this in
Ooh,
my
that's.
store. Come out. Stuff like this is very cool.
I might have to. I
So
might. I might have to get my little credit card ready because this stuff is kind of cool.
I have all 15 of these. I have all 15 of these that came
Nice.
out. I bought the whole print run. I bought this whole print run as well. And so I carry a lot of cool stuff in my store. And so that's something that is definitely out there. So if you're looking for rare books, rare comics, anything you can think of, I just brought in a bunch of LeBron James stuff and his comic that just dropped. So yeah, some good stuff is always coming my way. And if you're looking for something and I don't have it, you can reach out, ask me. And I may have it, I may not have it, I may be able to get it because I know a lot of people. Or
Okay.
if I don't know, or if I don't have it, chances are I know somebody who does have it, and I'm more than happy to introduce you to them. I've done it for plenty of clients, and they always come back to me, and they're always thrilled. So that's something to keep in the back of everybody's head here. That I definitely um, got you covered, everybody. So that's everything that I got going on. And on that note, I'm going to give you the final word.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it. This was actually my very first interview, and I was super nervous, but you made me feel so comfortable. Like, I love it here. I hope to be back just to like chat and catch up again. Like, this was really fun. I hope you enjoyed my company. I hope I wasn't too crazy.
Yeah, no, this was fun. This was fun. And I don't think I could have said that any better myself, everybody. And that is a wrap.